Live. Good morning. I am so happy to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in Tampa Bay. I'm Reverend Laine Morgan, and I serve as the senior minister here. And whether you're joining us right now on Facebook or you're watching this video a little later, I just want to thank you for finding us and for appreciating the spiritual lessons that we provide here in Tampa. You know, I hope that someday you'll just walk into the building here in Tampa and let us know that you enjoyed us during our pandemic days. We know that our community is growing online, and we want to know who you are and where you're listening from. So put a comment in the feed or message us through our website. I have my technical team here with me this morning, and Lori is back in the back hosting on Facebook, so she'll respond to your questions and comments and share little tidbits in the chat. But anyway, welcome to our morning celebration service. I want to open with an affirmative prayer. I will share our lesson for this morning, and I will conclude with a few community announcements if you'll stay that long. So please join with me in prayer and know this with me this morning. As I take a deep breath, I remember that life is beautiful because life is spiritual in nature. This entire universe that we live in is a spiritual, energetic universe, and it's guided by divine intelligence. Its true nature is peace and joy and love and harmony and connection. And no matter what is going on the human plane, underneath all of us is a foundation of spiritual truth. I call that God. And I lean into that awareness this morning, and I remember that I am all one with that. I know that's the truth of everyone in this room and everyone listening wherever you are listening. The truth is, we are divine beings. And so I tap into that creative power that is my inherent nature, and I call this morning good and very good. I know that the time that we share here is inspiring and connecting and loving, for that's all that we do. So I'm thankful for this community. I'm thankful for Ernest Holmes and his teaching. I'm thankful for this philosophy. I'm thankful for the community that gathers at this time. And with that heart of gratitude, I know that all is well. I let go and let the law have the word and make it so. I invite you to affirm with me together. And so it is. Amen. So this morning I have a question for you. My question is, what kind of a teenager were you? You know, when I look back at my teenage years, I have to compare myself to my brothers because that's who I hung out with in my teenage years. And when I do that, I can see myself as a good girl. You know, I was always the one obeying the rules, while my brothers were a little bit more daring and pushed the boundaries almost constantly. As you can imagine, they were always trying to get me in trouble. They were trying to entice me to be a little bit more rebellious and reckless. They didn't like it that I got in trouble far less than they did. But here's the deal. I really didn't enjoy the punishment that usually resulted from breaking the rules, like staying out past curfew or going places that we weren't allowed to go or whatever. See, as a teenager, I think the most dreaded words my parents could have said to me was, "You are grounded." I'm a freedom junkie. I was a freedom junkie when I was young too. You know, I wanted to be free to go to my friends' houses and have fun, and even to this day, I like to control where I go and when I go, wherever the places I go. You know, I want to have that freedom of choice in all manner of things. So being grounded was not my favorite thing. See, when I was young, we didn't have all this technology around. You know, when I was grounded, it just meant that I had to kind of sit home and read. We didn't even have a television in my home. So when I was grounded, I couldn't use the telephone either. So for those of you who know me well, can you imagine me not having anyone to talk to? Yeah, I know, right? It's hard to imagine. I was horrible at being grounded. I would rather just stick with the rules, as limiting as they were. Mom, if you're watching, they were limiting. But I would rather face those limiting rules than face the torture of being grounded. And I used this wisdom when I was a mom too. When my daughter was a child, I didn't actually ground her. I don't remember saying those words, but I did put her in timeout. And timeout was when I asked her to remove herself from the situation that was challenging her peace of mind and eliminate all the distractions so she could kind of get back inside of herself and emerge more centered and calm and better behaved, right? So being grounded in timeout for Kelsey was also about losing privileges and her access to technology. And as she would come out from being in timeout, her assignment was to come tell me, what happened before the timeout and what different choices she was going to make now that her thinking was better, right? She hated doing that. She hated that part. But that was her version of being grounded. So with this current COVID situation, it kind of feels like we're being grounded. I saw a meme on social media that said, this is like Mother Nature has sent us to our rooms to think about what we have done. Mother Nature has spoken. Our freedom of movement is limited, and the types of activities we can do are also limited right now. And as that self-proclaimed freedom junkie, this time of waiting is so hard for me, But what if we took this period of being grounded, so to speak, what if we took this period of being grounded to get grounded? To get grounded. So what would you want to choose to be grounded to? I want to choose to be grounded to my very soul. I want to take more and more time to ground myself in my spiritual beingness, or what I call my soul. Our monthly theme for CSL, the month of May, this is the first Sunday in May, and our theme is Listen to Your Heart. So today, we start with this invitation to ground ourselves and come back into alignment with our soul to listen to our heart. So I want to talk this morning about what a soul is. If we're going to choose to be grounded in our soul, let's make sure we know what we're talking about. That word is thrown around a lot, but it's a hard concept to define and to describe to someone else. I think most of us believe that we have a soul or that we are one, but what is it? So the dictionary defines a soul as the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being regarded as immortal. So your soul is the part of you that is eternal. In our Declaration of Principles around here, we declare that we believe in the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. C.S. Lewis said it pretty plainly when he said, you don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. You are a soul. You have a body. You are a soul. You have a personality. You are a soul. It's your truest identity. I always talk about this truth that we're constantly straddling two worlds, two realities. One world and reality is pretty easy to comprehend, and that is the human plane of reality. The world is understood on this level of reality through our five senses, and it's experienced through these five senses as well. In this world, everyone is separate, and every experience is material in nature. Most of us spend a great deal of time with our foot firmly planted in this human reality world. That's the world that everyone understands because it is the first level of experiencing life. And most of us remain very grounded in our human self. The other world that we straddle is the spiritual world. This world can be difficult to comprehend, right? Because we experience it differently. We experience it in a way that does not rely on our five senses. This is the world we approach through our intuition, our inner sense of awareness. This is the world of our soul. I want to be grounded in the soul. I want my foot firmly planted in this world, kind of balancing myself as a spiritual being and a human being. So here in spiritual study, we are learning that there's an inner world within all of us. There's a power and a presence that we call our soul. It's our true nature. And we're never separate from the divine because our soul is never separated from the divine. And when our center of awareness is grounded in our soul, when we are in right relationship with our soul, the good of the universe is available to us. We have a greater dominion over our lives on the physical plane when our foot is firmly planted in spiritual truth. So I like to say that our soul's kind of zipped into this magic suit of a body to express itself on the human plane. Our soul knows what it wishes to express, and it has the power to express it. However, guess what? Our human self has free will. If our human awareness is paramount in our decision making and in our reactions, our soul must yield the floor, so to speak, and allow the human part of ourselves to be in control. See, our soul may have come here to be the light and love and joy and peace, but if our human will is that we be different from that, our human self wins the battle every time. If our human personality wishes to be judgmental or aloof or self-protective or whatever, non-forgiving, our soul is left to long for something freer and better, but it cannot take over and wrestle control from the human personality. It can't. If our human urge is to be unkind or selfish, our human soul, our soul, will just have to sit back and wait for us to wake up to who we really are. But the soul does not wait quietly. We each have within us our soul's inner urging to return to the purpose it came here to express. Our soul's connection to the one power only wishes to show up in any situation as its highest self. It wishes to become an outward reflection of spirit, God, and life itself. The soul part of you is what some people call your conscience, that voice that urges you to do better. It's that tap on your shoulder to be generous in the spirit of oneness. It's that cry and that longing for unity in the space of non-forgiveness. It's your soul that draws you back into relationship to clean things up. Your soul wants to be expressed as love, and sometimes it won't leave you alone until you align with it. It will wake you up at night and give you ideas of healing that will just kind of flood your thoughts. It will give you a desire in the middle of a conversation to say something more loving or forgiving. It's always going to be urging you. It's what the soul does. The question is, can you let your soul express fully in this lifetime? So here are what some wisdom teachers' ideas are about how we can allow our souls to fulfill their roles in our lifetimes. The great teacher Carolyn May says, the soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. I love this quote because Carolyn is reminding us that if we can allow our soul to come forward as our truest identity, it already knows how to heal whatever is amiss in our bodies or in our lives. It is the misalignment of human thought, the mind, that must be silenced in order for our soul's natural wisdom to guide the healing process in our lives. Our thoughts can be so ego-driven, but if we can silence them, we can hear the soul's call for healing and wholeness. And Swami Vivekananda reminds us that our soul is our greatest and only teacher. He says this, you have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you. None can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul. What the Swami is saying is exactly what we teach around here, right? Your highest and best self is always within you. You possess deep inside yourself all the wisdom of the ages. And your soul can reveal that higher stuff to you and teach you if you'll listen. My job as your minister is to encourage you to listen to your own inner teacher. I can point the way, but I'm only pointing you to turn within yourself. And Walt Whitman poetically wrote that whatever satisfies the soul is truth. What he knew is that our soul is the part of us that really knows and intuits and discerns what is eternally true. Our human minds can be fooled, our five senses can be tricked, but our soul knows. The soul is pretty picky about what satisfies it, as Walt Whitman says. The soul is not satisfied by human self-righteousness. It is only satisfied with higher truth. And Ernest Holmes himself encourages us to grow our understanding of our soul because it is how we are connected to the one, to spirit itself. He says, to understand our unity with God is the beginning of wisdom. To realize that we can express our divinity today should be the start of a conscious practice that will gradually conduct us to a greater and greater experience of life. So I wanted to explore this topic a little further. And Oprah conducted an interview with many of today's spiritual teachers, the modern spiritual teachers, where she asked them, what is the soul? So I found their answers to be wonderfully informative. I won't share them all, but I encourage you to go find the episode of Super Soul Sunday. It's called Soul to Soul, and just watch it. And you'll hear these wisdom teachers that are currently a part of our teachings today and what they say about the soul. Here's what Gary Zukav said. He said, the soul is the part of you that existed before you were born and that will exist after you die. It's the highest, most noble part of yourself that you can reach for. Iyanla Vanzant said, the soul, I believe, is the fingerprint of God that becomes a physical body. I believe that. It's the fingerprint. It's unique to everybody. Deepak Chopra said, the soul is the core of your being. It is eternal. It doesn't exist in space and time. It's a field of infinite possibilities, infinite creativity. It's your internal reference point with which you should always in touch. Eckhart Tolle, the soul is your innermost being, the presence that you are beyond form, the consciousness that you are beyond form. That is the soul. That is who you are in essence. Michael Singer says this about the soul. The soul is the indwelling consciousness that watches the mind come and go, that watches the heart come and go, the emotions of the heart, and watches the world pass before you. You, the consciousness, the center of being, is soul. Wayne Dyer said, the soul is the birthless, deathless, changeless part of us, the part of us that looks out from behind our eyes and has no form. The soul is infinite, so there is no in or out of it. It is everywhere. There's no place that it is not. And the last one is Marianne Williamson. She says, for me, the soul is the truth of who we are. The light, the love which is within us goes by different names, but the truth of us. Michelangelo said when he got a statue, he would go to the quarry and get a big piece of marble. And the way he imagined it, God had already created the statue, and his job was to just get rid of the excess marble. That's what we're like. Inside is the being that God has already created. Some call it the Christ, the Buddha mind, the Shekinah, the light, the soul. And our job is to get rid of the excess, useless fear, thought forms of the world that actually hide the light of the soul. Wow. I love that idea that Marianne Williamson speaks of. Our job is to remove useless fear of our human self. Just like Michelangelo's job was to remove the useless marble that hid the beautiful statue within. That is how we ground ourselves in our soul, by working on removing the fears and limitations that we allow our human selves to live by on a daily basis. You know, as our days unfold, we use our five senses to consider and respond to all the separate forms and experiences we encounter. Our humanness would have us see everything in our lives as other than us. But our souls see the truth of oneness. Our souls know that there is nothing separate from the Eternal One. Our souls watch everything from the perspective of spirit, and our souls see everything as a part of the whole. The key to living from the perspective of the soul is to tune into the frequency of the soul on a daily basis. Sometimes more than daily. You know, we must invite the soul to sit in the driver's seat of our day. We must connect with this inner wisdom in the silence. As we quiet the busy human mind, we have to ground ourselves. You know, just like I told Kelsey when she went into timeout, and just like my mom told me when I was grounded, I'm removing you from the situation that got you in trouble so that you can learn a better way of doing things. Our human selves need to be removed from the situations that get us into trouble, that get us reactive and judgmental, so that we can reconnect with our souls and see the truth through the eyes of the soul. You know, I know that we're all restless. We're all restless and ready for this social distancing stuff to be over. We're ready to not be grounded anymore. We're ready to have our freedom back and be allowed to go and do exactly as we want to go and do. We want our freedom junkies to get out there, right? But let us use this grounding, this time out, in the highest way possible. Let's sit in our rooms and allow our souls a chance to know the truth that is around us. Let's give our souls a chance to teach us and help us see the way to heal whatever it is in our lives that needs healing. Let's give our souls a chance to fulfill their purpose for zipping into this magic suit. If not now, when? When? Take time each day to be still and know your soul. Know your unity with God, with spirit, with life itself. Know the unique fingerprint of your own soul is the power and presence of life itself, and it knows the way to unfold your highest good. As you lean into the stillness, you'll find that the unnecessary fears and limiting parts of yourself are falling away, just as the parts of the marble fell away to reveal Michelangelo's statues of beauty. Your true essence, your soul, will be revealed. And when we're ready, and when the world is ready for us to emerge, let's come out of our timeout and be more fully grounded in our souls. Let's come together as a community, as a tribe of souls, fully expressing the truth and light of God in our daily lives and in our experiences with each other. Get grounded. Get grounded. I want to close with a poem by Robert Muller. It's called Decide to Dream. Robert Muller wrote several Decide poems, and this one I just love. He says this: decide to dream. Decide to widely open the gates of your wonderful mind, heart, and soul. Let flow in the dreams of God, of the angels, saints, prophets, and sages. Give birth and let out into the world the dreams of your own uniques, unrepeatable cosmic being. If not born for any other purpose, be born to dream, to love. Be born to fashion a better world. Dreams and dreamers never die. From heaven you will see your dreams come true. You will reincarnate, inspire, and energize the new dreamers. The dreams of our beautiful planet of dreams will never die until we become the paradise we were always meant to be and are about to now joyfully become. Robert Muller. My soul longs to know your soul. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. I invite you to know this in prayer with me this morning. I take a deep breath and align myself with my soul. I identify myself with the eternal one that lives forever in, as, and through me. I know that's the truth of me, and I know that's the truth of each one listening to this, each one in the universe. Each and every one is connected to that soul, that eternal essence inside, that is spiritual truth. It is love. It is a love that wishes to be expressed. It is a love that wishes for everything unlike itself to fall away and allow the beauty of our truest nature to come forth. And so I know for each one this day, a greater and greater grounding into the soul of our being, into the truth of our identity. It is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day for love. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for supporting our center. You know, through your donations, we're financially strong, and we continue to grow and thrive as a positive, life-affirming ministry here in Tampa. You know, Lori will share with you on the comments of how you can text your donation to us or use our donation buttons on the Facebook or website or whatever. You can even mail in your offering. All of those things bless us, and we appreciate your giving. Just a couple of announcements. I also want to remind you that we have a few more days left in our 30-day spiritual practice group in the morning. We come together at 9 o'clock every morning through May 6th for a sacred cup of coffee together. We also meet every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. on Zoom as a community. We'll discuss the message from Sunday and come together in love and friendship as a class, and I hope that you'll join us for those. If either of these virtual community experiences are of interest to you, please see the newsletter for links or email us for more information. We would love to have you. So many of us who are a part of the center physically have been in these virtual connections over the past 6 weeks or so. So we're staying strong, we're staying together. And if you haven't been on with us, please come on so we can see you. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting CSLTB. I love you all, and I'll see you at noon. See you soon.